Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Ben,
Stupid
we're going. We're live. We're on. We're three. We're two. Fuck one.
ass.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm TJ O'Connor. With me, as always, Damien the Wolverine Hill. And we're here tonight breaking down the A-Town Throwdown 16 card going down tonight in Austin, Minnesota, March 7th. Check your calendar right now. That's today. Trash Talk is brought to you by our sponsors, Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, Origin Wellness CBD, Spartan Martial Arts, James Clark, Sports Psychology, Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and my mom. Damien, how you doing tonight, man?
A whole lot better than you bitch ass motherfucker.
Let's.
I'm actually really excited about this card. Gonna be there tomorrow, and man, there's so many great fights on the card. Would you mind giving us a rundown of the full card, please, if you
Yeah,
will? As
I,
full.
I will. I will do that. First fight of the night, we got Abazov versus Daniel Pogorban. Javon Edwards versus Andy Kiefer. Dexter Doxtator versus Colin Ruby. Cody Lenny versus Randy Rivera. Max Bradley versus Vicente Flores Jr., Ricky Field versus Daniel Majeed, Siddiq Sanan versus Herb Williams, Derek Destart versus Eugene Flores, Kiefer Bender versus Justin Stewart, Antez Howard versus Alex Zapata, Justin Tiedemann versus Curtis Harsey. For the 145-pound amateur title, Thomas Fiering versus Santana Acosta. And the main event of the evening, the reason why we bought popcorn, the 155-pound amateur title, Noah Landrus defending his title against the number one ranked 145er, Davey Young. And oh my God, that fight took my breath away a little bit. I stumbled. Man, what?
Man,
What?
all of these fights are pretty exciting. I believe Ben Pearson and Jeremy Bjornberg did a really good job putting this card together. And oh my God, dude, like which fight? Like, oh my God, like you can't even really say it. Like what's the first fight that we're gonna be able to see two performers come out?
Oh man, see, and that's a tough one to say. But the first couple fights, a lot of guys are have one fight, zero fights making their debut. The first fight on the card that sticks out for me is Cody Lenny versus Randy Rivera. This is a fight. They're meeting at 120 pounds. Randy's a guy who's ranked number 4, I believe, at 135 and under. He's the only 115 pounder in the list. Believe that. This guy, he's extremely talented. For those who had a chance to see his kickboxing match back in December, I feel like that was the best Randy Santiago we've ever seen. And I mean, I'm excited to see what he brings to the cage. Cody Lenny's a guy I've heard about. He was originally matched up with Josh Clark in a fight that did not go through. But I had a chance to look at him, and he is game. So that's the first fight that makes me go, whoo.
Yeah, two very tough competitors, and oh my God, and Randy's been making a whole lot of improvements. He did not look like the same guy I've seen before. I mean, a whole lot better in every aspect, and this was just a kickboxing match. I can only expect the improvements he's made in other aspects of his game, but also Cody Lenny is, like you said, a monster, dude.
Yeah.
Like you oh God, like he's dangerous for anybody.
Yeah, that's a great fight. And then another really good fight, Max Bradley versus Vicente Flores Jr. This is a good fight. This is a fight that a lot of people, if you're not familiar with the scene, I'd like to say as much as we are, but I don't think anybody is. But with all due respect, but if you know who these guys are, you know how good of a fight this is going to be. We talked to Max leading up to this fight, talked about his last fight that he took on 12 hours notice, had the comeback of the year in. This guy's never out of a fight. He's going against Vicente Flores, who is ranked, I think, number 9 at 170 pounds. Very good top game, really good wrestler. I'm excited to see how this fight plays out.
Dude, The stylistic matchup between these two just it really intrigues me, especially since Vicente, I I don't we don't like bringing up losses, did get submitted, and Max brought that up in the interview that we did with him. And he's been training with a whole lot of grapplers. I mean, has a high level grappling or jiu-jitsu pedigree himself. That's the word I was looking for. And it's really interesting to see how this goes, especially with Vicente being a really dominant wrestler. I mean, and the thing is, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I feel like wrestlers, and me and a bunch of other people have talked about it, but wrestlers, when they start training jiu-jitsu, have a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to the whole transitioning, the grappling and everything. But at the same time, that's what I'm excited to see, like how that actually plays out,
Yeah.
and yeah, there we go.
100%, 100%. Obviously, Ricky Fields back in action. I always love watching that guy fight. I stand by it. I don't think there's a guy out there at 135 that hits harder than Ricky Field. They might be guys that hit as hard, but I feel like if you're playing Fight Night, he's at the max level of punching power. You can't go up anymore. Like, you can get as hard, but you can't hit any harder than him at 135 pounds. So I'm excited to see how he comes back, and see how he turns around.
And I actually have a lot of respect for Daniel Majeed for taking the fight too, because I mean, 0-2, but looked really impressive, especially in his last fight. I mean, high output, lots of pace. I mean, I've had the pleasure of training with him a few times, and I've never seen that in the gym. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like he actually does a whole lot better when the lights are on, when he's in front of people. And man, I'm really excited to see how he approaches his next opponent, especially since I feel like Daniel, I mean, he has a really good jiu-jitsu pedigree himself, but at the same time, he looked really good on the feet last fight. Even though it was a loss, I was still really impressed with his performance, and I can't wait to see how he approaches this next fight.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, just to touch on it, I think this is a really great matchup. These guys fought on the same card back in November. I feel like the timing is right, and kudos to Ben and Jeremy for pulling off this. I think this is a good fight for both guys. And speaking of a good fight for both guys and a good fight for the crowd, Herbert Rogers-Williams is back in the Driller cage, and man, we had a chance to talk to Herb leading up to this fight, and I just love how much he loves fighting. Just talking about, he wanted to be the heavyweight champion. Now he's at 170 pounds, and, I love it. I love the passion he has. His opponent, Siddiq, he fought in December, had a good decision win. So I'm excited to see how he does against a really good athlete like Herb.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is a really exciting matchup, especially since, excuse me, we had the pleasure of speaking with Herbert, and he was saying that how he thought that his opponent was a stand-up fighter along with himself, and that's what I expect. And what fight fan doesn't like to see that, especially when you can mix in so many different type of striking techniques. I can't wait to see these guys get creative.
Oh man! And speaking of getting creative, a fight we had a chance to talk to both guys. The heavyweight fight, the only heavyweight fight on the card, and we're talking about the number 1 ranked Kiefer Bender going against number 3 ranked Justin Stewart. I want you. You want to start? I can see your energy.
Oh, you said that with a little bit of enthusiasm and shit, like, are you being a little bit biased towards the heavyweights, you fucking asshole?
Yeah, you don't got to put me on blast. The fans of the show know that I'm looking for the heavyweight. The heavyweights, I mean, that's the coveted throne. The heavyweight title, that's the title that Mike Tyson held. That's the title that Muhammad Ali held. Hulk Hogan had the heavyweight title. I stole that line from Chael Sonnen, so I can't act like it's mine. But the heavyweight title is obviously, that's what you're looking for. So when you get 2 top heavyweights, this is a really good fight. And talking to both these guys, and we had a chance, I mean, a lot of these times we talk to guys, 2-3 weeks out from a fight, which is still great. We talked to both of these guys this week. You can see the hunger in their eyes. You can see the energy. They're both ready to fight. And I think this could easily steal fight of the night.
Yeah, Justin Stewart, Kiefer Bender. I wish that was enough. That's all I had to say. But I feel like not enough people truly understand like this matchup in these two guys. There's still time. Look up their previous fights, and you will understand.
Yes.
This is oh my God, this is a badass motherfucking fight and a matchup. And
Yeah.
man, and I can't wait to see how Justin Stewart actually plays out the rest of his career after this fight. You know, not necessarily, I mean, I guess win, lose, or draw. If he stays at heavyweight, if he decides to go back down, all that stuff, like there's so much that intrigues me. And then with Kiefer being ranked number one, a dominant win, or even just like an all-out war and everything, and he comes out on top or something like that, it just proves that you tested the waters, you fought the toughest as the amateur, and maybe you're ready to go pro. It's just, oh, dude, there's so much that, like, I wish I could explain that. I wish I was more poetic so I could explain that better.
I feel like you got the point across. Like I said, this could easily be the fight that steals the show. And then going up to the next, big fight, co-main event, 145-pound amateur title. This is when this fight was first announced. Obviously, it was Thomas Fiering against Nolan Phelan. And then that fight fell through. I'm not sure the whole circumstances. The belt becomes vacant. Thomas Fiering is more than deserving for this title shot, and I couldn't express that more when we were talking to him. His last performance, especially his last three performances, he shows a jump, not a step. He shows a jump and improvement every time. That fight back in December was an absolute war, and he came out on top, relatively unscathed. Now he's in this position. And shout out to Santana Acosta. You're talking about a guy who was supposed to be on the card against somebody else. And then this fight becomes an opportunity. He jumped at this fight. I mean, when all else was done, he said, give me the title shot, put me in there with the toughest guys. I want a chance. This guy has 16 amateur fights. He's fought tough guys. He's been there. He's done that. This is an amazing test for Thomas against a tough, experienced opponent. And like I said, I want to see how this plays out. And the champion of this fight gets a belt.
Dude, you're such an asshole. Like, I wanted to say something, but that was fucking perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah, I hate you too, but I mean, then to let you get it started so that way I don't do that again, please explain to these people about the main event of the evening.
Who's the main event again? Oh, yeah. Noah fucking Landrus and Davey fucking Young. Those two motherfuckers are about to fight for the 155-pound amateur strip for Driller Promotions, which basically represents the state title at this point for the amateurs, especially with this matchup right now. Both undefeated, both dominant motherfuckers, both multiple finishes on their career, both can go the distance, weather the storm, deliver the fucking storm. Dude, okay. For the people that don't actually understand, Davey Young was a really good standout wrestler in the best wrestling school in Minnesota. And then you have Noah Landrus, who goes out and actually wins state. I mean, dominantly. I mean, was a really high standout wrestler. And I don't mean high on weed, now. That's why I'm fucking up a little bit. But that type of a matchup in itself is highly anticipated. It's just one of those things that excites everybody. But now you have Noah Landrus, who's been training with Angel Pacheco, who's been, I guess we've talked with him on and off camera about Noah himself, and Angel is one of those guys, he has some of the best stand-up in the game, especially I feel like in the Midwest, is definitely, and then in the entire game. He knows how to mix it up and all that, and he's warning me about how good Noah's stand-up is. And then we've seen Davey go out there and test himself, and he's ever improving, and he's starting to fall in love with the stand-up. So it's kind of interesting to see, I guess we've said it before. We've seen it so many other times, and it's been different almost every time. The wrestler that falls in love with striking versus another wrestler that falls in love with striking, or at least develops a really good striking game, that matchup. And it's never the same. And that's why it's oh, dude, I hope I expressed that good enough. And I'm I don't even know a way to end it. I just like that's the only way. If you don't get what means, look
Yeah.
up in the dictionary.
No, you said that perfectly. I mean, in a month, we're wrestling. All eyes are on Minnesota. The national championships are here in 2 weeks. We just had the state championships just last weekend. This fight couldn't have been in better timing. You mentioned their wrestling pedigrees. That speaks for themselves. I'm not even going to get into that. This fight is going to come down to who wants it more. These guys are both undefeated. They're both young. They're both athletically gifted. This is going to come down to who can dig deeper. I've said it to both guys on the show. I've said it to both guys off camera. I truly feel like this fight comes down to who can win the scrambles, and both guys seemed very confident when I said that. So I'm more than excited to see how this fight plays out. This is a fight that we dreamed about. This is a fight that we talked about. Like I said when we were talking to Noah, I remember sitting with you at the LFA back in September and saying Noah Landrus, Davey Young, that's the fight I need to see. And we were just talking about that. And then it gets announced, and now it's finally here. Both guys have made weight. The belt is on the line tonight.
Dude, as much as I hate you, I got to take the time to apologize to you right now because I remember telling you that that fight's not going to happen. I said it like confidently with so much conviction, and I probably even yelled at you and told you were stupid and I hate you. I probably slapped you and threw my beer at you, you know? But and then I made you buy me a new one. So, you know, like but right now I'm gonna have to say you were right. I'll swallow my pride.
We're going to clip that and play that on every episode now. But moving forward, more seriously, ladies and gentlemen, if it's not sold out yet, get on the nearest vehicle moving southbound to Austin. This fight is tonight. You're only going to see it in person, so be there or be square. Get your tickets at the door now because you can't even go on Nitro tickets anymore. It's tonight. It's tonight. Subscribe to this video. Like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ. I fucked up. You don't be a hoe. That's all that's important.
You said like Damien. Dude.
No one likes Damien.